With Gwyn's gesture of self-sacrifice ultimately futile, the fire would die again and again. After the first age, it came to be that when the link of fire was threatened, the bell tolls, and the souls of powerful beings would be burnt to keep it alight. But age-old forces stir once again, threatening the link of fire and spread of the abyss alike. Gods had begun. Humanity had all players deep and challenging, different is less likely to get me horribly Across the great kingdoms, still recovering from the second scourge, a new plague emerges, one where the dead perpetually reanimate, each time losing more and more of themselves to uncontrollable aggression and madness. With it comes a mark burnt into the flesh of the afflicted, the dark sign. Those with the mark would be rounded up and thrown into asylums in an effort to stop the spread of the curse, but it was to no avail. Little was it known that the dark sign had been a contingency plan put in place by Lord Gwyn in the event the flame would fade again, a control over humanity even long after his reign, to perpetuate the age of fire lest they suffer the consequences. With the plague of undeath still spreading, people grew desperate and looked to age-old legends that spoke of Lordran, the land of lords, where a chosen undead would gather the souls taken from the first flame and link the fire, putting an end to the undead curse and bringing the world into a new, prosperous age. Few believed the tale, but some would take it to heart and set out to free the undead from their asylums. One of these people was Oscar of Astora, who would free the chosen undead before meeting his fate at the hands of the terrible demon guarding the asylum. Upon travelling to Lordran, undead must ring the bells of awakening to discover their purpose in the land of lords, and upon doing so will find the truth from the primordial serpent, of the link of fire and Gwyn's great sacrifice. Retrieving the Lord vessel from the illusion of Gwyn's long-absent daughter in Anor Londo, and filling it with the remains of the original Lord souls that it desired, the chosen undead proves themselves worthy to succeed Gwyn, and puts the old Lord to rest before linking the flame, allowing it to burn their own soul as fuel. For an age, prosperous kingdoms would rise up, but as the flame began to fade yet again, there would always need to be an undead who would prove themselves and link the fire to maintain civilization. This would occur uncountable times, with kingdom after kingdom rising and falling on top of each other. This was, to an extent, also true in the great land once known as Lordran. But with its state inexorably tied to the continued linking of flame, the very earth would change, becoming twisted as the flame inevitably became weaker. Over the millennia, the strength of man had continued to grow, and the abyss had attempted to rise over and over, most notably consuming the city of New Londo and taking control of a portion of a Lord's soul. But it would be in the lands of Dranlaic where the abyss would rise once more and attempt to smother the flame once and for all. When man as father of the abyss had been defeated so long ago, his soul had been lost to him, but being the bearer of the original dark soul, it was not destroyed, and rather shattered into many fragments. Most are thought to have become simple humanity sprites, but some were destined for much greater things, and reconstituted ages later into four beings, four daughters of the abyss. All were born from a place desiring to spread the darkness, but all ended up finding their own ways as part of Manus Reborn. Ilana became an avatar of vengeance, embodying his wrath. Nadalia seemed to become his remorse and desire for penance. Alsana was his love and loyalty for what he had lost, and the bearer of the broken pendant. And Nasandra fully embodied his deviousness, treachery, and desire to extinguish the flame, allowing the abyss to consume all. Nasandra remembered the giants of old, Gwyn and his ilk, and their use of the flame to banish the dark. Despite their difference to the giant lords, she desired to prevent any potential interference with her plans and seduced Vendrick, king of Dranlaic, coercing him into waging war against this age's giants and stealing a powerful artifact from them. After sustaining a counterattack for many generations, the giants were routed back to their homeland, but Dranlaic was left in ruins. As if this wasn't enough, the undead curse had returned, marking the fading of the flame. Refusing to allow the cycle of linking to continue, Vendrick worked to cure the curse of the undead, but soon came to realise that Nasandra was working towards her own goals. In the time since Lords, the kiln of the first flame had become the seat of power, the throne of want, and one's sacrifice to the throne elevated them to the state of a lord. Of course, Nassandra's goal was to smother the flame and usher in the Age of Dark, ready for the Abyss. Vendrick would not allow this, however, and placed roadblocks to stop her ascending the throne. It is now that an undead traveller ventures to Dranlaik to seek a rumoured cure to the undead curse, and Nassandra sees her opportunity to remove the obstacles in her way. Forgetting their past and coming to believe that linking the flame is their true purpose, the cursed undead seeks to obtain 4 great souls to prove their worth, as many lords before them had. Only there are other threats on the horizon, for Dranlaik and the Abyss alike. Deep below what may have once been the site of Anor Londo, still remains the ancient Chaos Flame, still lingering from the Witches of Izalith's attempt to clone the First Flame, which threatens to engulf the world in demonic fire. Venturing to Ilium Lois, frozen to contain the chaos, the cursed undead meets with Alsana, birthed from the darkness of Manus' soul, but loyal to her king, a hero who contained the chaos for as long as he could, giving his life in the process. Rallying the king's finest warriors, the cursed undead descends to the old chaos, and atop what little possibly remains of Izalith, the chaos is pushed back again and locked away behind a wall of ice. With the threat of the old chaos quelled, the cursed undead is guided by Nassandra, Queen of Dranlaik, in human form, to dismantle the obstacles to the throne, only for her to reveal her true self once the path is clear, and attempt to usurp the throne, and fulfill Manus' greatest desire. Only her pawn has grown much too powerful, and manages to defeat her. At last, climbing atop the throne, the cursed undead is ready to fulfill their destiny, and keep the flame lit, if just for a little longer. A day would eventually come though, when the flame would die, and no one was there to kindle it. On this day, the Twisted Lands would collapse in on themselves, and the darkness would engulf the world. But even in dark, embers may still live, and given enough time, light may return to the land, but illuminate a world like no one had ever seen before.